Hello world. That's the first line of code I've ever wrote 18 months ago. Slowly, I started falling in love with the logic and simplicity of programming. As a summer research student at Princess Margaret Hospital, I'm responsible for developing programs and an online framework that can help create daily treatment plans for prostate cancer patients. Walking into the role, I reassure myself that with the predictability of coding, what could possibly go wrong? So I spent the first couple of months familiarizing myself with the treatment planning softwares and pondering with a focus on efficiency, how I can automate these steps so we can deliver care to patients faster. It was not until one day where I heard from a coworker. There was a head and neck cancer patient who completely lost his sense of taste after a series of radiation treatment. And there was a moment of shock in my mind because it wasn't something that I knew of before. It turns out that there are thousands of patients around the world who suffer from the side effects of cancer treatments 10 to 15 years down the road. So it turns out to me that the programs that seemed so predictable and logical to me in the past were not so predictable at all. It turns out that without the sufficient sparing of the organ at risk, like the rectum or the bladder, and the coverage of the tumors within the prostate itself, lives as these patients knew them to be would no longer be a reality. And it was this moment onward, it completely changed the way I approached the problem from a scientific perspective. Instead of tunnel visioning on efficiency only, I started asking myself, what are the uncertainties and risks that may be involved? And how can we use programming to incorporate all of these risks during our process? I started developing an appreciation for the unknowns and a finer, more critical eyes while I was evaluating these treatment plans and the risks that can so drastically impact this patient's life. You know, I used to think that as a research summer student sitting in the basement, staring at a computer 8 hours a day, I was so distant from these patients themselves compared to oncologists who have to announce the bad news. But as Dean Limery once famously said, medicine is a team sport. So no matter where we are, each of us has an intimate role to impacting these patients' lives. And I think it's best to listen to the word of Paul Kalanithi. He used to be a brain surgeon and a recently passed away patient of cancer. The role of physician is not to save patients of death or to give them back their own lives. It's to take into our own hands the life that have been disintegrated and give them the power to stand up and embrace their new existence. My role was more than just creating an efficient program. It's part of an overarching effort to help bring these patients to their new life. Never did I think that a simple hello world I wrote 18 months ago could kickstart this journey where now at Princess Margaret Hospital, we have an opportunity to help these patients say their second hello world. Thank you.